What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. Rolling Stones month at this point, probably rolling on. More Stones content coming at you. Today we're going to talk about the album covers, give our selections for some of our favorites and some of our least favorite. I think the Stones generally, I would say their art direction is pretty solid, pretty on point, but there are a couple clunkers, I think. So yeah, what do you got?
I don't know. I think overall they're pretty weak in the album cover department. I don't think there's that many good ones. I mean, compared to other bands where most bands have cool album art all over the time, I'm not seeing it. But to be fair, they have a lot of the early 60s stuff where the general consensus was, hey, take a cool photograph of all of you. Like, and that was the album cover. So my bottom five, I got Flashpoint, the live album from 1991, which is a pretty just pointless, ugly little printed flame with white. Like nothing, no thought went into this whatsoever. Someone got paid to do that, and I think that's really bizarre. Also, in my bottom, I got Dirty Work. I will give it credit because the album looks like the sound it's going for. And I almost don't mind how like popping all the outfits are and everything. I don't mind the pink shirt so much. It's those yellow pants that just are way too hot, way too bright. Nothing else is really yellow except a little bit of the lettering. And I just find it really odd. It makes me want to like fall over to that side of the album. Next, this one might be controversial. I got Voodoo Lounge, which not really doing it for me. It looks really weird and kind of childish. Yeah, it's just kind of got that like leopard print ghost thing, which I guess if you wouldn't put together with voodoo at all unless you saw the word with it. And next, I'm gonna go with I guess I'm gonna go with Between the Buttons. I don't really understand why some of it is blurry on the sides. Like I don't know. It seems like trying to be artsy for the sake of being artsy. And then finally, the worst album cover for me is Steel Wheels, which has no color, nothing interesting. It's just wavy circles with nothing interesting about it. You can barely read like the print at the top of it. I don't know. I just think it's pretty terrible. So those are my bottom five.
Okay. Well, I mean, for a band that has like the most iconic logo, it's odd that that never made a cover. I think it's maybe like on the back or the front of, I think it's on the back of Goat Head Soup, but it's not like an actual cover, which is weird because it's so iconic and has represented the band so well for so long. But I mean, they have some clunkers. I disagree. I think they have some with Cramser, disagree with Cramser. I think they have some very cool covers and some very iconic all timers. These, however, are not. I also have Dirty Work on mine. It's too 80s looking. And maybe if, the Rolling Stones were known for their 80s material, it would go over a little bit better, but it just clashes so much with their, kind of badass image to have them like lounging around in these bright neon colors. Does not work. I also have Steel Wheels. It looks like a Windows 3.0 background. Like you got the like the houndstooth and the crisscross, and then you got the steel wheels from the Rolling Stones. I have the new one, Hackney Diamonds. I think it's pretty lame. It's I mean, it's not a terrible looking cover, but that does not look like a Rolling Stones cover to me. I think that's the bigger problem I have with it. It has nothing that makes me think of the Rolling Stones on it. And then I finally also have Voodoo Lounge on mine. Just no idea what's going on there with that like wacky tube waving inflatable arm lady or whatever that is on the cover. I have no idea what that is, and that's always kind of bothered me. So that is also in my bottom.
Yeah, Voodoo Lounge is bad. Are they wearing a gas mask? It's what it looks like to me. I don't know. It's terrible.
Nobody knows.
So that's on my bottom five. Also, my bottom five, Steel Wheels. I think that should be unanimous. I think that is not only one of the worst Stones covers, I think it is one of the worst album covers ever. It is just really bad. Dirty Work, also pretty bad. Very, very much to the time and doesn't really fit the Stones. I'm also going to say the first record in the UK, whether it's Rolling Stones or here in the US, if it's England's newest hitmakers, that image is just so dull. I don't know. Like other bands of the time, like, yeah, that was what you did. You took a band photo, and for so many other bands, those images became iconic. And this Stones one is just nothing. So, yeah, don't like that one. And then the last one I'm going to say is one that maybe isn't the most controversial of my ones I don't like, because Cram actually gave it a shout out in the albums video as liking it and saying it matched the music a lot, and that's Emotional Rescue. I think, I mean, it's like a heat graph or something. I think that's what it is, the like images of the band and how much heat they're emitting. My problem with it is, like, I think it's, can you move your head? Yeah, it's in quarters. 3 of them look like absolutely nothing, and the one in the bottom right looks like a person. And it's, to me, it's just like, what is going on? Like, why does one of them have a face and the other 3 don't? I don't know. Just not a fan of it.
It's very confusing. You can't tell what it is.
Well, I love it, and it's in my top 5. Yeah, I love that it's just like that negative, photograph in the bottom right. I love the icy kind of colors. I like how magnetic it looks. I think it looks like the album it's talking about. It's all Studio 54 coked out and doesn't make sense. And it works for me big time. Also in my top 5, I am going with Exile on Main Street. I generally love the album covers like this when it's really just, just a big chessboard of different images and stuff. And Exile is a big, huge, epic, messy rock album, and this one is just, yeah, like a bunch of images and photographs and stuff. It's black and white, very cool. Here's one that I think is a bit of a sleeper. Doesn't really get talked about too much as an album cover. I'm going with Some Girls. I love the lines, the green, yellow, blue, purple, the faces on it. I don't know, something about the colors just kind of brings it all together for me and kind of just gives me the feel of the album. Second place for me, one of the most iconic album covers of all time, especially if you got it on vinyl with the working zipper. You got to go with Sticky Fingers. And I think a really underrated part of that is that little just like plain like envelope stamp of red that just says the Rolling Stones on it. I think that's pretty cheeky and cool. I like that. But my favorite album cover of the Stones is Tattoo You. I think that model looks really cool. I think the tattoos are friggin' awesome. And something about that shade of red is just one of my all-time favorite colors. I'm not quite sure. It's got a little bit of like, it's not a hard, bold red, but it's got a little bit of like an icy magenta to it. And I just think it's simple, it's bold. It's iconic to me. That's my number 1.
That would be probably my 6th least favorite. I do not like that cover. I think it's weird. My top 5, maybe the controversial pick for me will be A Bigger Bang. I think it's a really cool looking album cover with that flashing whatever strobe in the middle and the band kind of lit up in darkness, and you got the mirror image on the bottom. It's really just unique and interesting and just draws you into it like a black hole. So I think that one's pretty cool. Also my list, it's not a very good album, but it's a great album cover. It's Only Rock and Roll. I think is real cool with, the band coming out and everyone's just like, we love you, the Rolling Stones. Very bacchanalian and just very cool, very like, we know we're the shit, celebrate us. Unfortunately the album wasn't very good, but they got it right with the cover. Also on my list, I think Some Girls is a fantastic, iconic cover. With, you got the celebrities and the members of the band as like, what is it, like haircuts, like a haircut magazine. You're supposed to like go through and pick out what kind of haircut you like or whatever. I'm not sure what they were going for. If it's just them pretending to be women, but it's very cool, very interesting, very catching, eye catching. Some nice color scheme there too. Also my list, let me go with this one. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, Let It Bleed here, but I think it's really cool and interesting. You got like the pizza and the film reel and the cake and the vinyl record and everything, and stacked all together, and I believe it was based on what the album was originally gonna be called, which is Automatic Changer. And number one, might have to censor this one, boys. You got Sticky Fingers. I got the zipper too. What's underneath? Nobody knows. I don't want to break it. Sticky Fingers. It's iconic. Warhol conceived it. I forgot who actually took the photo, but I mean, everything about the Rolling Stones is encapsulated in those jeans and that big old package right there. So I don't really like looking at it, but damn, is it not just an iconic piece of album art?
Yeah, I really like Bigger Bang too. That one's just missing my top 5. I think that's a really cool image. I think on like the CD and stuff, it's kind of like zoomed out a little too far and small and hard to tell what it is. But if you get like the good up close image, it's pretty awesome. But my top 5, I'm gonna go with Satanic Majesty's Request. I think that's really interesting, kind of doing the Sgt. Pepper type of thing. But then, on certain vinyl editions, you get the holographic cover, just super cool. Then I'm gonna go with Hot Rocks, the singles collection. I really like it. The images of their heads kind of stacked on top of each other with that ring of light around their hair, and the way that just works graphically, I think is really, really cool. Then I'm gonna go with, I think, one that was on Cram's least favorite list. I'm gonna go Between the Buttons. Cram just underrating this record in every possible way. I think it's a cool image. Keith on the edge there being blurred while the rest of the band is in focus. I think that works. Then, of course, to me, the big two are Some Girls, especially the vinyl. You get the cutout so you can move the inner sleeve and put their different faces with different hair. And then just the entirety of the packaging, the back cover as well, with like the bra ads, like the old fashioned newspaper ads and stuff. Just, it all works. I think it's really cool. And then, like Joe said, Sticky Fingers, I think, is undeniably fantastic. And yeah, just boils the band down to one single image. And then you get the zipper on there, and it's just cool.
Hot Rocks looks too much like a profile of Donald Trump, and it looks like it's like a little mullet hair, and it's like it doesn't do it for me.
Well, thanks for ruining that for me forever. All right, well, let us know your favorite Stones covers, your least favorite, and what you think of our picks. Drop it down in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.